Round the World Lit Audio. The Ramayana, retold from Valmiki. Episode 4, Kishkindha Kanda, Hanuman. Channel Intro. Welcome to Around the World Lit Audio, the greatest stories ever told, from every corner of the world, in English. New chapter every week, free to listen. Chapter Recap. In Episode 3, Surpanaka arrived in the forest desiring Rama. Her advances were deflected and Lakshmana cut off her nose and ears. She went to Ravana and described Sita. Ravana, the greatest scholar and devotee of his age, destroyed by one uncontrollable desire, sent Maricha to transform into a golden deer. Sita saw it and wanted it. Rama went after it knowing it was a trick. The dying Maricha called out in Rama's voice. Sita made Lakshmana leave. She crossed Lakshmana's line of protection to give alms to Ravana disguised as a holy man. Ravana seized her and flew south. The great eagle Jatayu fought and fell. Rama came back to an empty hermitage, and called her name through the forest. Then he stood and said, "We will find her." Episode 4, Kishkindha Kanda, Hanuman. Kishkindha Kanda, the Book of Kishkindha. Rama and Lakshmana went south. They went through the forest following the direction Jatayu had given them with his last breath, south, toward Lanka, toward the sea. They did not know the way precisely. They knew only the direction and the name of the demon who had taken what was theirs and the determination that had always characterized Rama's engagement with what could not be changed. The forest was not empty. They encountered, in the forest on the way south, a creature of extraordinary strangeness, a being called Kabandha, a demon who had been cursed into a form without a head, with a mouth in his stomach and enormous arms that reached for miles. Rama and Lakshmana fought him. They cut off his arms. He died, and in dying was released from his curse, and stood before them in his true form, a celestial being who had been trapped in that monstrous shape. He said before disappearing, "Go to the lake of Pampa. Find the monkey king Sugriva on the hill of Rishyamukha. He is waiting for someone he does not yet know he is waiting for." They went to the lake of Pampa. The lake was beautiful, one of those specific moments in the Ramayana where Valmiki allows the landscape to breathe, where the beauty of the natural world is described with the attention of a poet who has been looking at this landscape for a long time and finds it still extraordinary. The lake was blue and calm, with flowers on the water and birds calling in the trees around it. Rama looked at the lake and said, "It is beautiful here, brother." He said it with the specific sadness of a man who is capable of recognizing beauty, and whose capacity for it is being held in suspension by grief. He would have liked to show Sita this lake. He would have liked to sit here with her. He could not. Lakshmana said, "We will bring her back." Rama said, "Yes." They went to the hill of Rishyamukha. Sugriva and the alliance. Sugriva saw them coming. He saw them from his position of concealment on the hill, two men, armed, moving through the forest with purpose, and Sugriva had been hiding long enough, and had enough reason to be afraid of armed men coming toward him, that his first instinct was to flee. He said to Hanuman, "Who are those men? They look like warriors. Could Vali have sent them?" Vali was the problem. Vali was Sugriva's brother, the king of Kishkindha, the monkey kingdom, a being of extraordinary power, who had driven Sugriva out and taken his wife and his throne. Vali had received a boon, that in any combat, half his opponent's strength would transfer to him, which made him essentially undefeatable in single combat. Sugriva had been in exile on the hill of Rishyamukha, which was the one place Vali could not enter because of a curse, for a very long time. He said, "Go and find out who they are. Go as a brahmin. Ask them their business." Hanuman went. This is the moment the Ramayana has been building toward since before the epic began, the meeting of Hanuman and Rama, the introduction of the figure who is arguably more beloved in the Hindu tradition than Rama himself, the figure who has temples dedicated to him across India and Southeast Asia, whose image appears in homes and businesses and roadside shrines, whose story is told by mothers to children as the exemplar of devotion, of strength, of courage, of the specific quality of love that asks for nothing. Hanuman was the son of Vayu, the wind god. He was a vanara, a monkey, but the word requires qualification, because the vanaras of the Ramayana are not ordinary monkeys, but a race of beings who combine the form and agility of monkeys, with intelligence and speech and supernatural capabilities. Hanuman was the greatest of them. He had been born with abilities that exceeded even his extraordinary race, the ability to change size at will, to fly, to lift mountains, to cross any distance, to withstand any force. He had these abilities from birth and had spent his childhood using them with the specific undiscipline of extraordinary talent combined with youth. He had once leapt toward the sun, mistaking it for a fruit. The sun god had complained. Indra had struck him with his thunderbolt. Vayu, the wind god, in grief and fury at his son's injury, had withdrawn from the world, had stopped the wind entirely, until the gods appeased him, and restored Hanuman to health. In that restoration, various gods had given Hanuman gifts, invulnerability from weapons, the ability to change his size and form, the strength to lift anything. And then a sage had placed a partial forgetfulness over him, so that he would not know the full extent of his own capabilities, until they were called forth by necessity and by devotion. He came to Rama and Lakshmana in the form of a brahmin, calm, dignified, with the bearing of a learned man. He asked who they were. Rama told him, and Hanuman, hearing the name, Rama, the prince of Ayodhya, the seventh avatar of Vishnu, felt something happen inside him that he could not quite explain. He had been told by his king to find out who these strangers were. He had come to gather information. But standing before Rama, looking at his face, hearing his story, feeling the quality of presence that surrounded this particular man, Hanuman felt the thing that would define the rest of his life. He felt devotion, not the ordinary devotion of a servant to a master, not the calculated loyalty of an ally to a useful partner, but the specific absolute devotion of a being who has found the person they were born to serve and understands, in the moment of finding, that this is what everything has been leading to. He revealed himself, dropped the brahmin disguise and stood in his own form, large and powerful and bright-eyed, with the specific quality of someone who has found what they were looking for and is not going to pretend otherwise. He said, I am Hanuman, son of Vayu, servant of the monkey king Sugriva. My king wishes to meet you. He believes you may be able to help each other. Rama looked at him. He said, to Lakshmana, this is a remarkable being. Lakshmana said, yes. Hanuman took them up the hill. The alliance. Sugriva told Rama his story. He told it with the compressed urgency of a man who has been in exile for a long time, and has not lost the anger of it, the story of Vali's betrayal, the taking of his wife, the exile to the hill where he had been living in diminished circumstances, while his brother sat on his throne. Rama listened. He said, I will help you. I will kill Vali and restore your kingdom. In return, help me find Sita. The alliance was made. It was sealed with fire, both of them walking around a flame as witnesses, in the old way of solemn agreement, the fire is the living witness, that could not lie. Then something happened that troubled Sugriva. He said, I should tell you something. Vali is not an ordinary opponent. He received a boon. In any combat, half his opponent's strength transfers to him. No one can defeat him in single combat. Rama said, I will not fight him in single combat. I will fight him from concealment. Sugriva arranged for Vali to be called out of his stronghold by a challenge. Sugriva challenged his brother. Vali came out furious and they fought, and Vali was winning, as Vali always won, when Rama's arrow struck him. It struck him from the forest where Rama was concealed. Vali fell. He did not die immediately. He lay on the ground and looked at the arrow in his chest, and looked up at Rama, who had come out of the forest now, and he said, You are supposed to be a man of dharma. You attacked from concealment. This was not honorable combat. Rama said, You took your brother's wife. You drove him into exile. The compact of brothers is sacred in dharma as much as the compact of honorable combat. You broke the deeper obligation first. Vali said nothing for a moment. Then he called for his son, and gave him final instructions, with the specific composure of a warrior, who has accepted a death that has arrived, whatever its circumstances. He died. Sugriva was restored to his throne. He was given back his kingdom and his wife. He was given everything that had been taken. And he had given his word in the pact by the fire. Help Rama find Sita. He sent the vanaras in all four directions to search. Millions of monkeys spread across the world, across the forests and mountains and plains and coastlines, asking every creature and spirit and being they encountered, Have you seen Sita? Do you know where Ramayana has taken her? Hanuman chosen. The Vanara armies searched and found nothing. The armies that went north found nothing. The armies that went east found nothing. The armies that went west found nothing. The army that went south, led by Hanuman, reached the southern ocean, the great sea that separated the mainland from Lanka, and stopped. Lanka was across the ocean. No ordinary Vanara could cross it. The ocean was vast and deep and full of sea monsters, and the currents were dangerous, and the distance was immense. The Vanaras sat at the ocean's edge and despaired. Then an old bear named Jambavan spoke. He said, Who among us can cross this ocean? The Vanaras looked at each other. None of them believed they could. Jambavan said, Hanuman, why are you silent? Do you not know what you can do? The sage's curse of forgetfulness was still on Hanuman. He did not fully know his own capabilities, had not needed to know them until this moment. But Jambavan knew. The old bear had been present at the restoration of Hanuman's gifts. He knew what Hanuman was. He said, You are the son of the wind. You can fly across this ocean. You can cross it in a single leap. You can do what none of the rest of us can do. Why do you sit here as though you were ordinary? Something shifted in Hanuman. He felt, as Jambavan spoke, the capabilities waking in him, felt the strength that he had always had, but had forgotten, felt the size he could become, felt the wind that was his father's gift moving through him. He grew. He stood up from the shore and he grew until he was enormous, mountain-sized, a figure of impossible scale standing at the edge of the sea with the whole of Lanka's direction visible in his awareness, and the wind moving around him, with the specific quality of a father's love. The vanaras watched in awe. He said, "I will find her. Wait here." He leapt. The leap was the leap that has been celebrated in Hindu tradition for 2,000 years, the leap across the ocean, the impossible crossing, the act of faith and capability and devotion, that is the Kishkindha Kanda's central image. He flew through the sky above the ocean, a great wind in his wake, Lanka growing larger on the horizon. He was going to find Sita. He was going to tell her that Rama was coming. He was going to bring back proof that she was alive, and that Rama had not forgotten her, and that the army was being assembled, and that everything was in motion. He had been born for this. Episode transition. You have reached the end of episode 4 of the Ramayana, retold from Valmiki. Hanuman has leapt. Lanka is ahead. In episode 5, the Kishkindha Kanda, the beautiful chapter, the episode that many consider the spiritual heart of the entire epic, Hanuman searches Lanka, finds Sita in the Ashoka Grove, delivers Rama's message, and then sets the city of Lanka on fire. Episode 5 is available next week. Subscribe to Around the World Lit Audio so you never miss a chapter. A new episode arrives every week.